to be cut again and again until they made sure that you had no flesh, until they would hit you and feel the feel of the bone. That is when they will leave you.
Haileti faida yote, uchungu kwa kusaa, mashida mingi kama saizi mimi. Labda mimi ningekuwa a very good lawyer, ama ningekuwa hata a very good MP. Saizi sana ndio una struggle kurudi class kusoma na watoto wako.
Where FGM has reached in Meru County, it's actually a crisis.
This woman had 3 children. Because of that, the humiliation and everything she had faced, she went ahead to be circumcised.
So this is where our story begins, in a place called Lejoka, in one of the more interior parts of Meru County. It is alleged that Jelida underwent the cut in this very village. A village cut off from the main road with no running electricity lines. A village much like many others across Kenya in remote parts of this country, where girls fall victim to the hands of circumcisers. 52 kilometers away from Lejoka is a more familiar sight. Meru Town, the center of commerce and the political headquarters of Meru County. Its streets teeming with life. Roughly 1.6 million people call the county home, and majority trace their ancestral roots here to Meru. Over generations, those ancestral roots have borne fruit to traditions that have defined the Meru people. One such practice is female genital mutilation.
The history of FGM in Meru, they say they inherited it from Maasai. They used to interact so much with the Maasai people in those old age. They will tell you, we are doing this, ili wasitangatange.
Catherine Diakono, born and raised in Meru, found herself taking up the role of activism against a highly revered practice in her community.
The prevalence of FGM, Meru and Embu, it is 31%, whereas the nationwide, it is 21%.
Over the last 4 years, Catherine has been working to stamp out FGM in her home county. Her work would become even more relevant last December upon receiving news of 14-year-old Jelida Gashwiri who bled to death after undergoing FGM.
Because for a very long time, we have been telling the board FGM is being carried in Meru, because that was not the first case which had happened during December holiday. There are many other cases which had happened during that holiday, but this was the worst since someone has died.
Local authorities have been trying to trace the family of the late Jelida, but in futility. It is alleged Jelida was one of 6 girls circumcised last December. The woman who conducted the cut, though known to locals, has been virtually impossible to locate.
I know our place of where she resides, and when we went there, we didn't get there. We were told she's the one who circumcised the girl. And the time we went there with my chief, we didn't get her.
Locals claim that she fled to Malindi to wait until the authorities' pursuit loses steam.
We normally inquire if they are around. When they hear that maybe we are coming, they try to hide. Yes. And even now I know they will come back. Because when the children are here, they can't be far away.
For 2 months now, the body of Jelida has been here at the Nyambane Sub-County Hospital Mortuary. And the reason for that is investigations into the cause of her death have been delayed, and no blood relative has actually come to claim the body. And of course, a post-mortem report cannot be done until those 2 factors come into play.
We received the body of Jelida Gashwiri on 16th December last year, having been brought by police. And the information we received is that the deceased allegedly had undergone FGM several days before, and she died at home. So when the police came, they had already booked the body in their occurrence book. We received the body, And as we speak up to now, the body is still with us.
Deaths from FGM are rare, but Dr. Kariuki and his team see the devastating scars carried by FGM survivors.
We've seen perineal damage. There's damage of the female organ. Some come in as much as severity as perineal tears. Some come with too much bleeding. Some come already infected with a lot of bacteria circulating in their body and pus oozing from the point of the cut. We've even had cases of whereby others have come with tetanus, because probably the cases or whatever instruments they use are not well cleaned.
The reality is the official numbers of FGM survivors in Meru is quite conservative, considering that majority of cases that don't entail infection or death go unreported.
FGM is very prevalent. We get an average of more than 10 cases per week, and there are even more, especially when schools are closed. So during the school holidays, the prevalence goes high.
Jelida, according to locals, didn't attend school. In the Meru culture, once a girl is cut, she is ready for marriage. And this marks the beginning of the end of any formal education. Hers is a story replicated across Meru. But why does a practice outlawed by the government still persist? Even with a public denouncing of FGM from Meru elders back in the 50s, has not been much of a deterrent.
They say a woman who is not circumcised is dirty. A woman is married in that area. She has been married for some time. She wasn't circumcised, but they allow this woman to stay. She get 1, 2, 3 babies. Now, after she get 1, 2, 3 babies, now they start secluding her from community activities. Now calling her the famous name, uncircumcised girl is Mokenya in Meru. You cannot participate with her in our activities. You're still a baby. So this woman she feels out of place. She ends up circumcised.
FGM is viewed as a rite of passage from childhood into womanhood. Girls as young as 7 or 8 are considered ready for marriage once undergoing the cut. Though there's no proof of any health benefits, in some cultures, FGM is used to lower the sexual desire in women, to ensure they are virgins on the day of marriage. The outlawing of FGM in 2011 saw the practice go underground, and even the medicalization of the procedure where sterilized tools and anesthesia are used. But nonetheless, it has long-term consequences, including complications during childbirth, painful sexual intercourse, and increased risk of HIV transmission, as well as the psychological effects. And the story is no different in the county of Narok. Nampayo is a survivor of FGM. Life in Narok is all she's known. She had her first child in Class 8 after getting the cut. Now in her 30s and a mother of 5, she holds resentment towards those that denied her the life she desired.
Labda mimi ningekuwa a very good lawyer, ama ningekuwa hata a very good MP. Sasa sana ndio una struggle kurudi class kusoma na watoto wako. Wasichana wa kabila zingine wanaendesha magari, si tunarudi kupeleka punda maji. Kwa sababu umesakamsaisiwa, umefanya nini, umepata hizo complication, unarudi tu kwa village.
The pain of what life could have been continues to haunt countless FGM survivors. But it is further exacerbated by psychological trauma that stalks women well into their sunset years.
And you keep remembering it never ends. I can tell you a story of one 90-year-old woman. You know, there were women that would have even forgotten the names of their husbands. And some of them even children. When you ask them, what is this one thing that you remember about your life? They will tell you, I remember the day that I was cut. They had to cut all the flesh around the birth canal. I mean, you are to be circumcised in the morning, and at 11 a.m. in the morning you are taken back and the circumcisers will come back to you to see whether there is any bit of flesh that still remains. And you can imagine the pain that that will be enduring. Already a wound, a very fresh wound, and even to be cut again and again until they made sure that you had no flesh, until they would hit you and feel the feel of the bone. That is when they will leave you.
Many have asked how such a barbaric practice has persisted in the Maasai community.
Ingawa Maasai ni vichwa ngumu. Juu hata kusoma ndio unaona tu kusoma. Juu waliambiwa ndio hii masomo. Wakasema usho hiyo ni wazungu. Ndio hii kanisa. Wakakataa, sasa hizi ndio wanaingia kanisa, ndio wanaingia shule. Haya, mwache kutahiri wasichana. Tutatahiri tu, jengeni prison kubwa yenye itatutoshea sisi wote. So tukikuja kurealize tumeachwa.
Traditions that have kept local leaders silent on the matter for fear of losing support from constituents on the ground. Until now,
all of us know there is a law. Na itaendelea kuona ya kwamba imekuwa enforced. Tunaomba community zetu ya kwamba nyinyi wenyewe mkubali ya kwamba FGM is outdated. Tunasema mambo ya watoto kutolewa shuleni wakiwa wadogo, mambo ya watoto kushika mimba wakiwa wadogo, hayo mambo yote tunasema hii nchi itaenda mbele kila mtu akichunga mtoto.
We are now seeing politicians actually coming out. For the first time today, I've seen even the governor come out and say we don't want this thing. Even the member of parliament, for the first time, I've never seen. Because people tend to think that if you talk about FGM, you're going to lose votes. But now they've seen the way the direction this thing is taking. They're now coming on board.
40%, that's the rate of teenage pregnancy here in Narok County. In fact, it's the highest rate of teen pregnancy in the country. And that's not the only area that Narok leads in. It tops the charts in dropouts among schoolgirls and child marriage. Now, all of those factors find their root cause in female genital mutilation. It's a vice that pushed the Narok County Commissioner, George Nyambane, to take drastic steps.
The most important thing is for us to get information. For us to get information, we'll get this girl, yeah, have the report, the matter recorded in the occurrence book, then take her to a medical officer, a qualified medical officer, to confirm that indeed the allegation that she's been going through FGM is true. Once we do that, now the next step is to move to the perpetrators. Now, of course, there was a lot of hue and cry who are saying it's against the law, we're going to... But we've done it. Have you heard any noise? No? There's no noise. Because this one is a very simple thing. Girls who are forced to go through FGM, when they come back to school, when they're out there in the community, they'll make noise, they'll complain, and we'll know. Those who do it voluntarily because they think it's a good thing, they'll brag about it. Therefore, we will know. So at the end of the day, what we want is information.
It's a mixed bag in terms of how his directive has been received by locals.
I don't believe it's the right way to save this girl because you have not changed the system in the ground. So the best thing we can do is we change the system, we change the tradition, we change what is happening in the ground. And that's when we have the whole community making a collective choice. You see?
First, I'd just love to congratulate Nyambane. He's really doing a lot of work, especially in the abandonment of FGM. And if we see his directive, one thing I think Narok, we are on media on the wrong sides, like we are at 40%. But if we look at the transition rate from primary to secondary this year alone, Narok, we had 14,992 students who are expected to join high school. And by February 4th, we had 12,932, 88%. What does that say? Because of that statement that Nyambane said, people became more scared, people became more aware, and they were so scared that if I do this, our daughters will be, I wouldn't even say paraded, because nobody, to be honest, nobody has been paraded. No girl has been paraded.
However, despite efforts like Baraza's to sensitize the community on the dangers of FGM and pushes by the church to carry out alternative rites of passage, a critical group has been accused of being a barrier.
The first person you report an FGM case at the ground road is to the chief. And sometimes this chief, the person you are reporting, is either an in-law, is either a neighbor, or is either a family member. So it will be very difficult for him to follow up on this case. So most of the time you'll see like it's going round, and at the end of the day, that is what we call it in our group, kukula kesi. These chiefs end up eating this case. So you will not hear it anywhere, and this girl has just, and that is where you see, even after now that girl has been circumcised, when they move to the next step of giving off that girl in marriage, this chief will still protect these people.
Natembeya, however, says he's not sparing anyone in this fight against the vice in his county.
I don't think any chief would risk to do that now currently because it will be reported. Yeah, and all of them are on our radar because some of these chiefs have been more of traditional leaders than government officials. We want to change that because they're supposed to be the government employees.
A post-mortem was finally conducted on Jelida's body this week, confirming FGM as the cause of her death. According to reports, individuals claiming to be family have asked for her body to be disposed because they believe it is a bad omen.
Justice for me, for Jelida, is Jelida to be given a decent burial. That is one. The other thing, the perpetrators. Because up to now, I forgot to tell you, Vicky, no one has been arrested. No one. No one. The chiefs, the DCs, they're shifting blames.
Catherine and countless others continue to fight. So the names of Jelida and many other FGM victims whose lives have been lost silently are not forgotten.